Hello guys, thank you for joining me. So in this unit, we're going to look at comments. What are comments? Comments are simply part of the code which is ignored by the computer at execution. So when you write a code, for example, you write lines of code, then there are some part of codes which we would want our computer not to execute. So this part of code, they are meant for us to use them for reference. So the useful part about comments is that they are used for future reference. For example, if I were to write a code here, maybe let's say for an application where I have 1 billion lines of code, then 5 years the company comes and they want to upgrade or change, they find a problem and they want me to look back into my code. Of course, 5 years has passed. There's a high probability that there is some parts of the code which I can't remember what I performed. So searching that part of the code would be a little bit difficult. So we use comments. We'll put a comment to underline, or maybe to tell yourself, to say, to indicate, to say this part of code, what it is doing is this and this, etc., etc. So similarly, for readability, sometimes there are people who write codes just using letters, for example, variable names, just consistently using letters, and yeah, so you don't use proper names with descriptive names. So instead of making that making that easier, they use comments to make it to indicate, to say this variable is specific for this, because let's say my variable is x. X is what? X, I don't have any thought about x. X can be anything, so I'll indicate with a comment. Similarly, when you're working with a teamwork, let's say we're working on a project as a team. So as a team, I will indicate with comments in my program to say this is where maybe my friend is supposed to start from. This is the part of the code where like this function is happening. All right, so comments are very useful part of code. Of course, they're ignored, but it's ignored by the computer, but it is very useful to us. It communicates to us as humans. All right, so how do you write a comment in Python? So it's just simply with a hash. So you write a hash, and then the line which follows, just line, not what is below, but within the line, that line will be ignored by the computer at compilation or at execution or at interpretation. So print hello world, this will be ignored by the computer. So similarly here, var is given to 4 plus 3. When you execute the program, it will not do anything because it will be ignored. So there's also another method which we use. So you can write this, you can comment an entire book size lines of code, where you can just use consistently hash, it will comment the entire thing. But there's another method where you can use triple quotation marks, like double quotation marks, but there's supposed to be 3 of them. So you have the first one, second one, third one. You write on the opening, that is the opening part, and then you write all what you will write, despite it being starting from a new line. As long as it's within the boundaries of these quotation marks, it will be treated as a comment. So Python will not read that, it will just keep it. All right, so like I said, comments are very useful. So as we write code to make them more readable, let's make use of comments. So where do we put comments? Comments, you can put them anywhere, any part of the code, especially on parts where you want the computer just to ignore it. And but with the best practice, you would put it at the beginning, on top, just above your code, like a specific functionality or a set of instructions, or in between of the code or after the code, but precisely, not just randomly. Yeah, so to make your code neater, just put them on top, below, on in the middle. All right, so with this, well, you are guaranteed to be a successful programmer without many errors as you program. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining me. See you in the next lesson.